As the Chupacabra sank its fangs into new territory, the public's perception of it began to shift. Most newspapers from the United States spoke of the Chupacabra in a derogatory way, making light of the internet theories that had grown around it and the people who had become victims of the creature's visits. Some papers went so far as to suggest that the farmers were staging the deaths of their livestock to gain attention and to collect insurance money. The name itself became a point of derision in media articles. For the mainstream public, the Chupacabra was simply not real. It was a fanciful creature just like the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot. In the late 1990s, popular culture was a hit with Chupacabra frenzy. People capitalized on the name recognition, creating songs and movies about the modern-day vampire. The ever-popular X-Files television show even included the beast as the focus of one of its episodes. The name was an inspiration for the names of bands, American radio DJs, and even polo competitions. T-shirts bearing the visage of the beast were popular in places like Texas and Mexico. To many, the Chupacabra was the butt of a joke. To others, however, the Night Stalker remained a very real threat. In 2000, 120 sheep were found drained of blood over the course of 7 weeks in Nicaragua. One evening, farmer Jose Talavera shot the creature as it attacked his goats, injuring it, but the monster still managed to get away. A few days later, he found its carcass in the mouth of a nearby cave. Talavera had the corpse analyzed by the National Autonomous University of Nicaragua. Experts ruled it to be simply a domestic dog. Talavera and other farmers in the area were not happy with the results, believing that what had killed their livestock to be something other than a dog. However, the media latched on to this new identity of the Chupacabra, and soon the freakish and alien forms it had taken in Puerto Rico became distilled in the American Southwest as something much more familiar.
It's interesting to me that with those cases, especially in the southernmost United States, these American cases often describe something that's much more like a canine. It's at very least a quadruped. In some instances it's dog-like, in some instances it's sort of like a hybrid. It doesn't have hair, it may even have a scaly sort of appearance, but certainly it seems to resemble a dog.
In the spring of 2004, just south of San Antonio, Texas, in a little town called Elmendorf, there was a rancher named Devin McAnally. And Devin was a chicken farmer. He had these chicken coops. And Devin was certainly used to dealing with predators that would steal his chickens, primarily coyotes, bobcats, raccoons, things like that. And typically when those predators would break into the chicken coops, they would take an entire chicken and just run off with it. In the morning, Devin would go into the chicken coops and find that chickens had been killed in mass numbers and that they were seemingly devoid of blood. And he had never seen anything like this before and could not relate this to any of the predators he was used to dealing with. Around that same time period, he began to see a strange animal on his property. And he originally described it as kind of having a bluish-gray color, going around on 4 legs. It's a quadruped. It looked like a giant rat or maybe a dog-like animal, but he really wasn't sure. But in his mind, it was connected to whatever was killing his chickens. This must be the animal. He finally managed to shoot the creature, which incidentally was eating mulberries that had fallen out of a tree, which is not a very terrifying image of a chupacabra, I don't think. He killed the animal, which subsequently became known as the Elmendorf beast, and he took some photos of it because he didn't know what it was. He couldn't identify it. It certainly looked like a dog-like or maybe a rat-like animal, completely hairless with blue and gray skin and very long fangs. And because none of his neighbors could identify the photos, Devin took the photograph up to De Leon's meat market in his hometown, which is a lot of the old-timers went to, and put a picture up on the bulletin board to see if anyone could identify it. And it wasn't long before some of the old-timers, the Mexican-American folks that were coming into De Leon's meat market, would see the photos and say, "It's the Chupacabra. We have those in Mexico. It's the same thing. And so that is where the very first time that the name Chupacabra was associated with these weird creatures that we have in Texas and elsewhere that are completely different from the Puerto Rican version. And this has obviously been a point of confusion for many people. Why do we have so many different physical descriptions that relate to this name Chupacabra?
The new form of the southwestern Chupacabra was met with backlash. Surely the vampiric terror that had been killing livestock in Puerto Rico could not be explained away as something as mundane as a canine. The descriptions of the two different kinds of Chupacabra were irreconcilable. One was a creature totally alien to the animal kingdom. The other was as common as man's best friend. The canines appearing around farms in Texas where Chupacabra attacks were reported were strange, to say the least. Leathery black skin, large ears, and a strange, unusual gait. Dogs of this nature are not common. The timing of their appearance coincided with the deaths of dozens of livestock, raising concerns and leading many to one horrifying conclusion. The nightmarish creature that stalked Puerto Rico by night might have changed in its travel to the United States, experiencing not only a physical shift, but a cultural one as well.
In 1995, a series of strange livestock killings started to occur in central Puerto Rico. These livestock animals were being drained of their blood. Telltale signs of 2 puncture wounds were left behind in the neck or throat area. So we're talking about a veritable modern vampire, if you will.
And it became known as the Chupacabra.
Looking out the window, they saw this figure that was 3 to 5 feet tall, spikes running down the back.
The whole body came out on the hood. Now this creature was staring straight at them. They immediately saw the big red eyes. They saw that it had the 2 big fangs. It was just like coming towards the car.
The Chupacabra reports had made their way over onto the mainland in places like Florida and in Texas.
Chickens were being killed in large numbers over a very short period of time. And he finally managed to shoot the creature.
This animal that comes in the night, that attacks livestock and drains their blood, almost in a vampiric fashion.
We really don't know what that is because it doesn't fit inside what we know about zoology.
He's kind of a chameleon and fits the worldview of whoever's perceiving it.
Yeah, I mean, all throughout history, there's been animals that preyed on blood. It could very well be these creatures that do it the whole time.
You know, they'll tell you that these things have been seen for decades, generations. They're aware of their existence in